when the narcissist realizes what they destroyed. That's what we're going to be talking about today. You've got to look at it like this. Picture this in your mind. 2 children on a beach. One child is building a sandcastle. And just as they finish it, the narcissistic child, comes along and sees what they have built. And it stirs up certain emotions in them. Anger, jealousy, from seeing the other child's pride, sense of accomplishment, happiness, satisfaction with themselves and what they have achieved. So it makes the narcissistic child feel inadequate in comparison, as though they couldn't build something like that. Or maybe they just can't be bothered. Maybe they haven't got the passion, the enthusiasm behind it to achieve something like that. Either way, they get mad and then they stamp all over the sandcastle. And what do you think they do after that? Do you think the narcissistic child is thinking about what they just destroyed? No, of course not. The narcissist is not thinking in that way. They don't destroy something, intentionally or not, and then think afterwards, oh no, what have I done? They're not thinking like that. And how you got to see it is, why do they destroy in the first place? Whether it is intentional or not. Either way, it's always for the same thing. They're looking for a reaction. Because before they destroyed, they felt like something was wrong with them. They felt like they weren't good enough. So they destroy whatever it is, the relationship, maybe even a possession, whatever it is that they've destroyed, they destroy it out of their own feelings of inadequacy, unworthiness, insignificance, irrelevance, just not feeling good about themselves. And then after they destroy it, they then focus on you. So they disidentify from whatever they just did as though they never did anything. And they focus just on your reaction to what they've done. As though the movie that is your life just started playing from that point and nothing happened before. And your reaction tells them everything that they want to know. It makes them feel exactly what they want to feel. Where you're then there like a child who just finished building the sandcastle on the beach. You're just sitting there looking at what they've just done, what they've just destroyed. And you're bound to be feeling confused, anxious, agitated. A sense of hopelessness, helplessness, unfairness. And that's exactly how they felt before they did that to you. So they destroy what you've built, what you are, what they can't be, or what they're too lazy to try to become themselves. They destroy it to level the playing field so that they no longer have to feel like you are above them. And to further regulate their emotions, it's not even enough for them to destroy something. Destroying something doesn't do anything for them. even if they destroy a possession of yours, the actual destruction of it, I mean, it's really, destroying it is really just like a 1 out of 10 on the scale of how good it makes them feel. It doesn't do much for them. And it's really just a means to an end. They destroy solely to get your reaction to the destruction of something that was meaningful and important to you. And it's because it means something to them. It's something they know all too well, is cherishing something and seeing it be destroyed right before their eyes. And yet they don't want to self-reflect and accept that they are the ones who feel destroyed. That's what they're running from. Remember, these people, they abandon themselves in childhood. They live in a false reality. They create false narratives. They don't know who they are. They don't want to know who they are. So that's why it makes them feel so good when they can destroy something of yours or destroy the relationship, and then to stand back and look at your reaction. It's all about your reaction. That's all that matters to them. It's about control rather than them missing you as a person. If they missed you, I mean, if they valued you that much, they wouldn't have destroyed anything. People who really value something, they don't go around causing destruction. People who cause destruction, it's usually because they don't value themselves. That's what that's about. But even then, I mean, you may be such a powerful, confident individual who may be driven, motivated. It may not be enough for them to just destroy a possession or the relationship, because they know you can rebuild. They've seen what you are capable of. They've seen what you can do. And this is why many of them will take it even further. They will destroy possessions. They will destroy relationships. They may even physically abuse you. And even then, they will discredit you. They will blame you and tell everyone that it was your fault. Sometimes this is strategic. Other times they are just delusional. And honestly, I think it's difficult to tell if they are delusional or if deep down they are aware that it was their fault. But I would assume that they all know deep down that they are to blame. They're just in denial. They're just running from the truth about themselves, the truth that they don't want to accept. But they're not ever thinking that they destroyed. They're running from that idea. And this is why if you confront them on anything, if you try and hold them accountable, they get really mad. And you can bring all the evidence in the world to them, and they'll still deny it. So this is how you know that they do know what they're doing deep down. This is why they hide it. But yeah, they don't want to accept accountability, and they don't feel like they should have to. Because in their minds, it's very unfair that you get to be you. How that makes them feel about themselves. So in their minds, that makes them feel like they have the right to destroy. Because of how what you have built makes them feel about themselves. So yeah, just think about that analogy. The two children on the beach. one child seeing what the other child has built, the sandcastle, and then just going over and stomping all over it. And this is, it goes deeper. That child who stamped all over the sandcastle, it's because they can't find any fulfillment in building a sandcastle themselves. In their minds, it's just stupid. Like, what's the point? So they don't have a playful side to them. And this is usually because they just don't feel good about themselves. They're depressed. It's like, what good is anything if they are a part of it? And not only that, but also they don't like mystery. They don't like the process of building or creating something. They just want to focus on the end result. What is this going to get me? How is this going to end? That's what they're concerned about. And it's because they have a void that can never be filled. They can't be satisfied. And this is why, you can't get them to engage in anything fun, because they've always got to be in a position of power and control. They've got to be the all-knowing, the all-seeing. And just imagine how boring that must be for them. This is why they don't like taking anything seriously as well. They always have to be silly, foolish. They have to fool around with you, play with you like you're a toy, but not in the right way, because they're wired differently. So they like to mess around with you, toy with you, play games. They like to play God. They like to feel like they're above everything and you are their puppet. That's what gets their rocks off. But what they do not like to do is be involved in something where they don't know what's good or what could happen. They want to have everything planned out, everything premeditated. This is why when they get involved with you, they're trying to learn you as fast as they can. Because they don't find any enjoyment from being fully immersed in anything other than their own illusion of how wonderful they are. But anything else, it just brings up all of these fears of rejection, abandonment, exposure, being humiliated. So they've got to be in control of all of it. They've got to be 10 steps ahead. And of course, by them having this mindset, it does cause a lot of destruction. Compared to if they just took things as they came and didn't jump to any conclusions, didn't make assumptions, and went through the process of trial and error. That would be far more effective, but they just jump the gun. They jump ahead of things. And that's what causes so much destruction. And especially their anxieties of not knowing how things are going to turn out. Their insecurities. This is why they always want to be in control. And this is it, Just them having to have that position of power and control can cause a lot of destruction. So don't ever think that they miss you. It's not about you. They never really cared about getting to know you as a person. It was more just molding you into who they needed you to be so that they could feel superior, to validate the illusion. So they don't miss you, and they're not entertaining the idea that they destroyed anything. It's just all about control. And if there's ever anything that they will miss, it's not anything to do with you. It's to do with what you provided. As examples, attention, validation, admiration. You gave them a sense of power and control. And maybe you provided them with residual benefits, money, a place to stay, sex. These are the things that they will miss. And it's all about themselves. Because when you're giving these things to them, it's not about how amazing you are. It's about how amazing they are to get these things from you. And even when you give them gifts or money, it's not about how kind or generous you are for giving that to them. It's about how amazing they are for having these things that are a part of them. Sex, it's never about an intimate connection with you. No. It's about how they look to themselves. When a narcissist is having sex with someone, they're only thinking about themselves. Whether they're a man or a woman, they're thinking about how good they look in this act, how powerful, desirable. It's not ever anything to do with you. If it ever seems it's anything to do with you, it's just about how you affect them or what you provide to them. So really, it's not about you. Do not underestimate the self-absorption of a narcissist. They are completely self-absorbed. And this is why gradually who you are just dies over time. It's like you no longer even exist. You don't even recognize yourself because you're constantly being molded to fit what they need you to be so that they can see themselves how they want to in their image. And the real you just dies off. You just disappear because it was never about you. They never cared about you. They never even knew you. Now, they never even wanted to. So they're not ever thinking that they destroyed you, they destroyed the relationship. They don't care about any of that. And if you could really see underneath the mask, they're really just laughing at you. They're just thinking about how stupid, how foolish you are. They don't just come out and show you that because that would affect their control. So they play it down and instead they come back acting like they really value you. They love bomb you again. Like they want the same things that you want. They'll come back like nothing happened or as though they're going to change now. But especially when you give them another chance, they are really thinking that you are just really stupid. That's what they're thinking about you. They're just thinking, what an idiot. Because they know they don't deserve you. They know they don't deserve another chance. They know they didn't deserve to be anywhere near you to begin with. Of course they know that. That's why they manipulated you. That's why they deceived you, conned you. So of course, when they're wearing this mask and the real them is behind it, of course, yes, they're thinking that you're really stupid for falling for it. That's how they think. Of course, none of you for falling for that. How are you supposed to know? And, you're just really just good people because you try to see the best in them. And, that's what we should do with people. We should try and see the best in them. And that's definitely a good quality in dealing with narcissists. You have to take away your hope. You can't keep believing in them. And that's really what gets us tricked. And also, we have this playful side to us, this innocence. That's what they take advantage of. And so that's what really what got us into trouble. It's definitely not anything to do with intelligence. But, that's how they look at you, because that's what feeds their ego. It makes them feel like they're so smart. But of course, it's got nothing to do with that. I mean, I've had clients who are doctors, lawyers, and, they got tricked by narcissists. And there's many professionals on YouTube who have been victims of these people. I think it's psychologist Ross Rosenberg. He mentioned in one of his videos, he was married 3 or 4 times to narcissists. But don't quote me on that. I think that's what I remember from one of his videos. And he's a psychologist. So, don't ever think that it's anything to do with intelligence. It's not. This is emotional manipulation. And so it's all about just raising our awareness, not so much increasing our intelligence. To develop our reasoning skills as well. Because we were too emotional with them. And they did take advantage of that. But yeah, even when you see them getting really angry, again, it's not because they miss you. It's because of the loss of supply. Because you were providing supply to them in the form of attention, validation, admiration, money, sex, gifts. And this was fueling their illusion, validating the false self. And they're highly dependent on that from you. So when you take that away, without the validation, they begin to feel invalidated, unworthy, not good enough. And that's the whole point of the false self, is so that they don't have to feel that way. And they really just take this as an attack on them. So that's where they get mad. That's where they lash out at you. Again, it's not because they care about you. It's not because they really value you. They value the supply that you give. But you need to separate these things in your mind. It's the supply. In their mind, that has no connection to you at all. They don't even really see it as something that you're giving to them. And that's how they just take it for granted. But they do see it as something that you're taking away. They blame you for that. But when they're receiving it, it's all about how wonderful they are. It's like, no, you're not giving it. It's just coming to them because they're so wonderful. So it's a very strong sense of entitlement. So that's how you've got to look at it to truly understand the workings of their minds. If this video is good for you so far, please give it a thumbs up. At some level, a narcissist, they may realize that they've destroyed a source of admiration They may realize that they did something to make you no longer admire them. And then that's how they come back with something different. So they might change from devaluing you to love bombing you again, because they realize at some level that they destroyed a source of admiration. Again, it's got nothing to do with connection. And they're not going to spend a significant amount of time thinking to themselves, oh no, I destroyed this admiration. They just skip that part. And then they just go to whatever they think they have to do next to regain it. So yeah, even when it seems like they regret something, it's more just an ego injury. They just feel unimportant. And they're never sorry for anything that they've done. You will likely never get a genuine apology from a narcissist. Some of them may apologize. Some narcissists may cry, beg, just do whatever it takes to get you back. It's never genuine. It's all about themselves. It's just about the bruise to their ego and the loss of supply. It's only ever how it pertains to them. There's never a connection. But there are times where they may grieve the loss of someone who they once abused. Yes, they can grieve, they can experience a sense of loss. And typically they're not going to blame themselves most of the time. Of course, there's some cases where they can go into a narcissistic collapse, depression. This is usually very rare, because what they're normally going to do is just go off to the next source of supply. So you're unlikely to see that, but it can happen if you're dealing with a narcissist who doesn't have so many options. Maybe they've been exposed and they made you their world. Then yes, you may see the narcissistic collapse in those cases. It can happen. But it's got nothing to do with love, nothing to do with connection. It's not about how wonderful of a person you are and just anything to do with you, your qualities. It's got nothing to do with that. It's not ever about a connection between you and them. It's about you providing things to them, and the significance, the importance of you as a provider of love, attention, all of these things. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's because they're so wonderful. It's because they're the star. So they deserve it. They're entitled to it. It's not anything about any merit for you. And this is why many of you get so confused, because you're like, all of the things I did for them, they ran me into the ground, I sacrificed my life for them, and it's like they just don't even care. They just destroyed everything. And that's why, because it's not about you. And all of the things you're doing and giving to them, they don't see it as though that makes you a wonderful person. They just see it as though It's either because they're so wonderful or they're so smart and you're just stupid. You're just an idiot. You're just another person they've conned. So it's one or the other. And typically that will depend on their confidence, but it can go either way because it could be the love bombing phase. At some level, they may think you're just an idiot, or they may think they're so special and deserving, entitled. But then also when they're devaluing you, because you're invalidating the false self, they may start to see it as though, they may not be so desirable, but they're smart. But then also you've got to consider they could be getting good supply elsewhere. So they may still be feeling confident in themselves. But yeah, the only time that you're going to see that narcissistic collapse is when no one else puts up with them. When there's no one else who they can blame, when no one else is around, they have to go within. They have to implode. And as with anything, it's always a very extreme reaction. Most of you may probably never even see that. But when it does happen, it's very extreme. And it's just these feelings of just worthlessness, as though they're just no good, they're just a horrible person. And they can stay stuck in that state for a very long time until they finally find another source, if they make it that long. Because some narcissists, they may self-harm, they may even take their own lives when they're in that state of collapse. They just cannot be alone. But yeah, whenever they're without you, it's there's always a selfish motive behind it. It's always just me, me, me. Like, what will they do now without you serving them? It's never about you. It's never about valuing you, appreciating you. It never is. And even when they do experience a collapse, in these rare cases, it's still just this woe is me mentality. Like everything is against them. And it's just no one likes them, no one understands them. Everyone does this to them. This is the mentality that they have. It's like they're just so important still, enough to be wronged by everyone. So they rarely ever truly go within and have this epiphany, where they do actually make changes, consistent changes. It just doesn't happen. They don't ever reflect, they always react, and it is always about them. So it's never anything to do with a bond, a connection. It's all about the benefits. It's all about what they extracted from you. And that is all they care about. And like I said, at the beginning of the video, they get bored very easily. This is why they don't like to take things seriously, unless it's something to do with them. Then it's very serious, of course. But with you, they extract as much as they can. And eventually the supply loses its potency. It's not as powerful as it was at the beginning. and then they become destructive, especially if you're seeing through them, and with the boredom as well. So then they find pleasure in toying with you. They find pleasure in your pain, hurting you, and just destroying anything that means anything to you, because they have no meaning, no purpose in their own lives. So then they get off on taking from you, withholding from you, causing destruction. That's the only thing that can make them happy, because they may have been immersed in you before, but then they got bored. And it's nothing to do with you. It's not because you're boring. I mean, they are just boring people themselves. And it's because of their controlling nature. They need to know everything about you. They have to change everything about you. You can't just be the real, developing, growing you. So, that's how you got to look at it, is, that's what they got bored of. They got bored of the version of you that they had control over. They didn't get bored of you. And it's because, their games, their controlling nature, it's just so boring, even for themselves. Even they get bored of it after a while, and then that's why they just destroy everything. And then they start looking for the next shiny new toy. And then when that's gotten boring to them, it's kind of like in a video game. They want to have full control. They want to have all of the cheat codes. They want to unlock all of the characters, all of the powers. And then once they do, they get bored of it after 10 minutes. Well, as for us, we can just play through the missions. We don't need all of the cheat codes. And we could play that game for months. And this is it. This is their problem. They cannot let go of the control. They cannot let things play out naturally because of their fear of rejection, abandonment, exposure, humiliation, all of these things. It threatens them, their ego. Because they're fake, they're wearing a mask, and if everything was just uncovered, revealed, and things played out naturally without them having the control, the manipulation, they don't think you would ever want them. And you likely wouldn't want them. If you could see the real them, what they're hiding from you, and if things did play out naturally without all of the games, it would get very boring for you. The only thing that really keeps you entertained in all of this is all of the games, all of the random things that just pop up out of nowhere. And that's really just a dopamine hit. What's keeping you entertained is the dopamine, no oxytocin. And it can turn you into an addict, as it may have for many of you, where you were just constantly chasing after them, their approval, validation. And also because they hide from you, they're like a puzzle that you can never solve. So that's really what keeps you hooked. And yet you may feel like there was this chemistry. There really wasn't. They don't really have any real personality of their own. It's all just fake charm that they've learned from other people or from movies. So you haven't even lost anything. It was all fake. It was, it's just kind of like an AI. It's all just scripted. And it's just all about control. So it's all just simulated. And when you realize that, it does get very boring. It just feels so empty, and it's just like, what is the point? What is the point in talking to them? What's the point in trying to get them back? What's the point doing anything with them? They're just a robot. And it's all just a script. It just has no meaning because there's no connection. It's just all about themselves validating their own false character that doesn't even exist, and it's just a simulation. And when you get pulled into it, you lose touch with yourself and you can barely feel anything anyway. And this is it. This is why, when you come out of it and you begin to heal, many of you may long for someone who's just more natural. Someone who can just be. That suddenly becomes far more attractive to you than someone who's got to have it all together, but it's all fake, it's all scripted. And, that's good that we do move in that direction afterwards. Because essentially, this is what we're dealing with. It's just fake people. And I can understand it. I mean, of course, I've been through it myself. Initially, it is very attractive. It seems ideal. It's like exactly what you've been looking for. It's just not real. And it can seem so perfect. But you can't ever connect to it. You can't ever really feel it. It's always just slipping away. It always seems out of reach because it can't ever be real. And once you awaken to this truth and you realize it's just a robot, it's all a script, then you can grieve it and let it go. And then it seems far more attractive, something that is real, even though it's not perfect and it's not perfect. But that's just it. Because it's real, it can grow, it can improve over time. So while it may not be perfect at the beginning, it can get better. The narcissist can't ever get better. I mean, the mask is already pretty much perfect, the mask. I mean, when you see a narcissist mask, it's very difficult to pick it apart. I mean, they've perfected it over such a long time. I'm sure if I really think about it, I can think about some things, like some defects. But that's just it. That's why they go from one supply to the next. It's out of insecurity, envy. Like, what can they take next to patch up the mask? And that's why it comes across as so perfect in the beginning. It's like you've never met such a perfect person. Like, they're just so nice and just so charming. It's like whatever you need, it's just there. It's whatever you need whenever you need it. Because they study you as well. And of course, it can feel difficult to let that go when you feel like it's something so real, something so perfect, not real. Like something so good for you, but it's not. And it's never going to be yours. It's never going to be something that you can hold because it isn't real. And it's far better to have something that is real, that can actually be yours, where there's actually a connection. And it may not seem so perfect, so ideal at the beginning, but give it time and things can improve. Because if it's real, it can get better. Thank you for the donation. So what? So what says, many blessings and much light to all survivors of abuse while navigating your healing journey. Thank you for that inspiring message. Melinda says, I literally have boxes full of surveillance crap they left behind. Please tell us more about that. What is this surveillance stuff? Traveler says, understand that they are malevolent. Familiarize yourself with the definition of malevolence. I'm sure, of course, in all of my research, I have heard that term before. But in all honesty, I'm not completely sure of what it means. I think it means something of an evil nature, something pathological. I have spent many years researching all sorts of words. But of course, when I'm doing live videos, I mean, it is better just to keep things simple. Instead of using all of these long words, even though I do know many of them, I can be very descriptive if I need to be. Thank you for the donation, Clay's Memes. Clay's Memes says, you're a good man. You still wear the mask though, God. Not sure what that means. Please expand on that. But thank you for the donation. Traveler says, narcissism is called God complex for a reason. Their God, Yahweh, Jesus, is an infinity, malevolent narcissist. I don't know about that. I mean, of course, it would appear that way. If there is a God or if there's a prophet of God, just like a king, they're going to come across as a narcissist in many ways. But somehow that, that's just how it is. That's just the position that they hold. But you will know, like by people's words, I mean, is it all about themselves? Is it all about how powerful and wonderful they are? Or is it inclusive? Narcissism tends to be excluding people. But yeah, I have a huge achievement to share with you that I just noticed yesterday. And, I was really excited, really proud about it. Because, for the last 2.5 years, I haven't been getting many views on my main pre-recorded videos. But I noticed something, this was 3 months ago. Only now I caught up with it. My video, 12 Clear Signs You're Being Gangstalked, has over 30,000 views and 450 views in the last 48 hours, so it's still growing. And if you search gangstalking videos this year by views on YouTube, I think it's number 4 or number 5 out of all of the videos this year so far. So of course, that's a huge achievement for me. And it's a massive comeback. And it just shows, you can always come back. And it's all down to your belief, Do you believe that you can make a comeback in your life? Do you believe that you can come back greater than before? But then that's just it. Do you need to come back more than before? Wasn't that what got you into trouble in the first place? So, but yeah, it's not all about me just coming back. Although, that's definitely a part of it. Is I wanted to get my content out there. I want people to see my work. But also it's about making sure that people are aware of this, giving them the information, giving them guidance. And it seems that this is really the time now for gangstalking videos. Because I can see the trends, I can see the pattern. There are some big videos on gangstalking this year. There's one that has millions of views. So it's really starting to be exposed. And I don't know if it was Professor Sam Vakinen's video that he did a few months ago, but something has really kicked this thing off. And I don't think it's going to be as big as the narcissism content. Of course not. I mean, maybe at some point in time, who knows? But it's definitely gaining traction more than ever before. And I'm sure that's because of the increase in technology as well. And there's also an epidemic of depression. So of course, with these two things, people are using the technology to play games with people. And, where there's a problem, there can be a solution. And so I'm going to give it a go. There's definitely a demand for gangstalking content. And as you know, I came in with my narcissistic abuse content just at the right time, just before it began to blow up on YouTube. So I really got in it at the right time. I don't know, maybe it is divine. I mean, because, it was definitely a huge coincidence back in 2018. I made the content at just the right time. It wasn't too early, it wasn't too late. And then I posted that video, Narcissists Are Cowards, December 2018, blew up over like 50,000 views. Now it's got well over 100,000, that video. But yeah, that's just it. It's all about timing. And that's something that you can do if you you want to start something online. Remember, it's all about your timing. So you have to look kind of like in stocks and shares. You have to know when it's going to go up, and that's how you're going to trend and even earn a lot of revenue from it. So I don't know if that's something that people talk about. I just kind of explore it myself through my own experience. But there's a tip for you, it's the timing. If you want to blow up on a certain platform, you just start searching around and you just start to see, what is growing, but what hasn't fully grown yet. And you just have to get it at the right time. And that's just it, you know, even if your content isn't even that good. As long as you got the time in and it's relatively, you know, it's watchable, you can still have it, because it's like, if you look at my content at the beginning, it was quite amateurish. I didn't really know what I was doing that much. I was kind of inexperienced back then compared to now. But my work still blew up because it was at the right time, and it was still, you know, watchable, even though it wasn't perfect. Because that's just it. I mean, you could be the greatest expert on something and still not get many views. It's about the promotion. And that's how you may find that there's many channels on YouTube and other platforms, and they're getting tons of views. And it's still quite amateurish. It's because it's about the promotion, or it could be about the image. But yeah, I'm convinced at this point there is going to be a comeback, and I don't think it's going to be that big this year. It's going to be quite moderate, but I think next year there's going to be a big comeback on the channel. And I don't know exactly what the content will be. I have a feeling it may be something spiritual, chosen ones, and probably gangstalking, maybe something else as well. But also still continuing with the narcissism content, just exploring different topics. So it is a very exciting time. There's going to be lots of new stuff coming on the channel. And it's going to be some of my best work. It's going to be better than anything else I've ever done before. And it is, you know, if you're watching some of my recent stuff. But it's going to be even better than that in time. Because I'm constantly in the learning process, constantly leveling up. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Taylor. Taylor says, heart is racing for no reason. I don't know why I feel scared to ask people about this stuff. I feel all fight or flighty. Well, just know that it's a completely normal response after what you've been through, to be in the state of fight, flight, freeze or fawn. This is a trauma response. You have experienced trauma. And a lot of it is emotional. And it's really fear, anxiety. It can also be kind of like a mixture of dopamine, adrenaline, trauma bonding, learned helplessness, and maybe seeking or anticipating validation. It could be a mixture of all of these things. And what you really need to do is redevelop your sense of dependence, validating yourself, meditation, mindfulness, positive affirmations, and not focusing so much on the narcissist, but also, it will help to continue educating yourself, learning about their tactics, how they do things, why they do things. But think about it in a more general way to help you to stop ruminating too much about the narcissist, because it's depleting you. And what can help as well is everything that you didn't get from them and how they left you just longing and yearning, desiring. Imagine someone else coming in, a fantasy character who is everything that they are not, everything that you do want, to help you dealing with feelings of anxiety, frustration, wanted to change this narcissist, and also recognize the ridiculousness of that. You can't change them. They don't want to change. They're quite happy with how they are. So take away any feelings of love towards them, because you don't love them. You love who you thought they were, who they portrayed themselves to be, what you thought they could be. Taylor says, I'm hoping I can keep my daughter from learning the behaviors. A big part of this is really having a healthy ego, strong self-esteem, real confidence. That really counteracts narcissistic behaviors. Because, that's what causes them to act in this way, is that they're very insecure. They have low self-esteem. So a lot of it is really envy and jealousy. Justine Brazil asks, is there anything you can do to break the trauma bond? There are definitely ways to break the trauma bond. And I'm talking from experience. I have broken many trauma bonds. And, it's a bit long to describe exactly what I did. Keep in mind, I'm not a trauma recovery coach. And I also didn't work with one to break the trauma bond. But I have broken many trauma bonds, yes. So it can definitely be done. I know that from experience. To summarize it, really, you're focusing on them so much, thinking that your thoughts about them, your emotions directed towards them, are somehow going to solve something. Well, no, the only thing that's going to improve anything is if you put the focus back on yourself and think about narcissism in a more generalized way. Because stressing about their reactions are not going to solve anything. But what can definitely provide immediate relief is imagining, fantasizing about the fantasy character. And that's why I made a video about that. can't remember the title of it. It's something like immediate relief from a trauma bond. I made this video a few weeks ago. It's definitely one to check out. And I am available for one-on-ones, which you can book on my website, narcsurvivor.co.uk. And I can definitely help you to work through the trauma bond, although I'm not a trauma recovery coach, but I've got plenty of experience and I broke many trauma bonds myself. And, you know, there can often be different types of bonds as well. There's different kinds of dependency. So it may never be enough for you to just watch a video and for that to resolve it. Because they need to know what exactly is going on in your situation. What are you trauma bonded to? What are the exact feelings, behaviors, activities? Because of course, you know, different narcissists, it depends on their past experience, you know, what has been successful for them in the past. They may have trauma bonded people with money, sex. It could even be with food, with cooking. It could be with anything. So there's different kinds of trauma bonds, and usually it's more than just one thing. And it is to keep that dependency. But that's just it. You've got to know what it is. You've got to have the awareness of it. Realize this is a problem. How do I solve it? Once you know what it is, it's going to make it that much easier to break it. Melinda says trauma changes our brain, literally. Study the science behind it too. It does change the brain, yes. It rewires you. But you know, it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, yes, of course, you know, abuse is a horrible thing. No one deserves to be abused. But also, I mean, you look at some of the greatest artists, musicians, some of the most successful people in the world have experienced the most trauma, more than most people. Just look at narcissists. Some of them are highly successful. And it's all from trauma. That's what drove them. And I'm sure, you know, that's what drove me into creating this content. Trauma can make people very creative, passionate. And of course, you know, that doesn't mean that you just got to go and just get abused by someone. Of course not. But like the old saying goes, every day, do something that you are afraid of. As long as it's not extremely dangerous or life-threatening. You know, do something you don't normally do. Go somewhere where you don't have any control, where you don't know what's going to happen, like it's an adventure. You know, that's really what builds you, your character. Because think about it, I mean, humans since the beginning of time have suffered extreme trauma. Most of the humans back then, they suffered far worse than anyone in the world today. Living in the wild, being chased by wild animals, not knowing what they were going to eat. And that's what got us here today. So trauma has created incredible things. The entire system of the world is built on a foundation of trauma. The entire universe is built on destruction. So, you know, that's a more empowering way to look at it. Yes, you may have experienced trauma. Your life isn't over. The trauma is the beginning of something new. And on top of that, you can heal as well. But definitely, while you are in this state of trauma, confusion, hurt, use it to your advantage. Don't see it as a burden. See it as fuel, power. And just see some of the most creative minds in the world, what they have created from pain, distress, confusion, frustration. Incredible things. Incredibly passionate people. And that's just it, even if everything was all perfect, even if you were completely healed, we'd probably just get bored of it. It's like you'd want to do something fun, something exciting. You'd want drama. That's just how it is, There's no positivity without negativity. There's no good without bad. No light without dark. So recognize the contrast and recognize that, we do need it in many ways. We do need the darkness to know the light. But of course, that does not justify abuse. Abuse is unacceptable. It is wrong. But yeah, big things are coming. Big things. That I am looking forward to it. Things are going to keep getting better. And things are getting better. They really are. And I'm looking forward to this trip that I have now, next week, flying back to the Philippines. I am looking forward to that. And also traveling to a new island. And that's definitely something that I'm really looking forward to. Because of course, in the past I have memories of islands in here in Malaysia as well, and in Sri Lanka. And there's something about it, just being surrounded by nothingness. I don't know if I'm going to get that there, but that's how I've experienced in the past. Just nothing around. You're just in some empty desert, like in a timeless place, like time has just stopped. To me, that is the most peaceful thing. Because I find peace in myself. And I find peace in stillness. And that's how you really know that you are healing. You're really getting somewhere then if you can go to a deserted, remote place. And it's just like the best feeling ever. And yet you don't like being in malls, you don't like being in like busy cities. That's how you know you're really getting somewhere then. And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, is some peace. Sitting on a beach, swimming in the sea. And who knows what else I'll do. But it's all to come. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing then. But what I do know is that Nala is also going back to the UK as well. And I think that would be good for her. it'd be a nice change for her to go back, and then it'll be, the winter will be coming. She might enjoy, you know, a bit of a change in temperature. Because she does like that, you know, when she likes just like new things, new places, or going back to the old. And then hopefully then she can get outside, run around, and just explore. But yeah, as for these narcissists, as for these people who are self-absorbed, lacking empathy, having a delusional sense of grandiosity, exploitative, as for them, no, they're not ever going to be consistently entertaining that they destroyed anything. They're not ever going to be thinking in that way. In their minds, it's like that analogy with the child playing on the beach, building a sandcastle. It makes them feel insignificant, irrelevant, unworthy, undeserving. And so they're looking for reactions so that they can feel relevant, because otherwise they just feel completely empty inside, depressed. And this is why they act the way that they do. Because unlike us, they are in this position of power and control where they're like these puppet masters. And that's very depressing, very boring for them. Because it's like they've already planned everything out. They already know exactly how everything is going to go. It's like it's essentially like they've woken up in the morning and, or while they were dreaming, they already had an extremely accurate dream of exactly how the day has to go. And it can't go any other way. So it's just stuck that way. It's just boring. They already know exactly how everything's going to go because they have to know. And it has to go a certain way. It has to be all about themselves. And so it gets very boring for them. This is why they play around, they mess with you, they harm you out of boredom. That's why they just destroy everything. This is why they love drama, because they can't find any peace within themselves. So, as for you, you keep playing, you keep being innocent, you keep being fully immersed in whatever you're doing. And you let them carry on, you let them be that way with someone else. They're never going to find fulfillment. Because that fulfillment comes from within. The answers you need are within. They're going to keep on seeking external validation. So, yeah, that's it for this one. Live from Malaysia. But looking forward to getting out of here now. But yeah, if this video was helpful for you, please give it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe. Hit the bell icon, and then you will be notified when I go live again, when I upload new videos. Like I said, there's so much more new content to come. And I can't wait to share it with you. And let me know what you think about what I've said to you in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, if you agree, disagree. If you've got anything else to add, if you have any questions, just drop it down below in the comments. I read your comments every day, and we often have many people commenting, so we can start a discussion together. And if you'd like guidance to support your healing journey, you can book a one-on-one with me. Go to my website, narcsurvivor.co.uk. Follow me on Instagram, Narc Survivor YouTube. Facebook group is Narc Survivor. And I just posted a quiz on there today. Check it out. And also I appreciate your donations, no matter how small. You can donate by going to paypal.me/narcsurvivor. And from the 4th of June onwards, most of the PayPal donations will be used to support Nala in her pet sitting. But yeah, there's no connection with narcissists. They don't care about you. It's all about themselves. Even when it seems like it's about you, it's about how your reactions, your validation pertains to them because they're so entitled to it, they're so wonderful. And so it's always all about them. There's no connection. Remember that. And yeah, until next time, you'll have a good day. Talk to you soon.